All right. So let's take a look at this poem, "Far on the Sands," by again by Charlotte Smith. Asked everyone to again do the two reads of the poem of this sonnet. Again, first one looking for setting, circumstance, situation, speaker, audience, and purpose slash message. And then the second read, see what poetic devices you can find. And I want to kind of do a little focus on form here today, and especially looking at rhyme and sonnet. And maybe you noticed a few things, a little bit different from what we just went over. Maybe she plays with the sonnet format just a little bit. But again, let's start with our content mostly. So, "Far on the Sands," all of a sudden we seem to know setting wise this might be by the ocean or something. So it begins with "Far on the sands, the low retiring tide." Sure enough, yes, we're looking at a setting by the ocean. "In distant murmurs hardly seems to flow, and over the world of waters blue and wide, the sighing summer wind forgets to blow." Again, got my punctuation there. It's kind of the place where I'm stopping. "Tide wide, flow blow." Again, I'm noticing an alternation right away. I feel as though I'm pretty comfortable saying this is an English sonnet. Again, English Shakespearean, which is cool. Again, pretty standard there. I may have noticed too early on that we have a description of setting. We're by the ocean. Again, if I'm thinking about this speaker here, this is probably just, I'm going to assume it's the poet, just kind of speaking out to herself, right? Just kind of looking at this scene. And unlike maybe Wordsworth, just getting a little bit more, I would say, melancholy, right? It doesn't quite have that joyful feel to it. She's watching, right? There's this distant murmurs. It's a little ways away, right? It's a low retiring tide. Things are maybe, it's the end of the day. The world of waters blue and wide. The sighing summer. When something's sighing, right? Again, there's more of an exhaustion to it. It's just all the feelings are a little bit more sad. Even the wind, it's forgetting to blow. So I'm getting strong vibes of the elegiac, right? This is going to be sad, be a little mournful. I'm already looking at, I know I'm getting ahead of myself. If I want to analyze diction, again, the effect on tone, I know exactly what paragraph I'd be writing about. And again, conveying the sense of elegy. Continuing on, "As sinks the day star in the rosy west." Oh, okay, so day star must be the sun, so it's a sunset. "The silent wave with rich reflection glows." I have a colon here. I'm going to stop, right? So she's looking at the sunset, like we've all looked at sunsets maybe before. But again, there's this sadness to it. She's looking at this. It's a beautiful scene, right? This looks absolutely gorgeous the way it's described, but there is this melancholy there. But she does start to reflect. So I know I'm going to get some reflection here. And let's see about how it's going to be kind of different from maybe Wordsworth. So beautiful scene. Again, get into some reflection. "Alas, can tranquil nature give me rest, or scenes of beauty soothe me to repose?" Interesting. She's actually asking a question. This is interrogative. "Can the soft lustre of the sleeping main, yon radiant heaven, or all creation's charms erase the written troubles of the brain, which memory tortures and which guilt alarms?" Again, another question. It's kind of profound questions, right? She's basically wondering, can this beautiful scene, right, of nature erase my troubles? I don't know. Maybe she just, had a bad event. Maybe she just found out she's going to prison because of her husband. Maybe she just got rejected from a college, or just got her heart broken. Either way, something is troubling her, right? She has troubles of the brain, and she's wondering, right? She's kind of asking, seems to be just asking herself, yeah, can this beautiful scene, right? Can it actually, calm me? Can it make me feel better? Can it soothe me to repose? Wordsworth was quite clear about, like, yeah, I always think about those daffodils and I'm having a great time again. Not so much the case here. And obviously, with the way it's described, I don't think it's going to end on a very happy note either. Because sure enough, the final two lines says, or bid a bosom transient quiet prove that bleeds with vain remorse and unextinguished love. A few ways to kind of break down these final sentences here, right? The bid a bosom transient quiet prove, weird sentence. Bosom, we kind of think about her heart. Transient, if it's only transient, it's not forever. And quiet, right? If it's going to prove something quiet, that'll be probably good because it's going to pause the troubles that she has in her heart. So basically, I would translate this line down here as right, like, because earlier she said, yeah, can nature erase all this? Can it soothe me so I'm all good again? But here she's kind of saying, or, right, does nature, is this beautiful seeing, is it just going to offer my heart or maybe my troubles only a short time, right? A little brief time, a transient time of comfort. And then when I go home, all my problems come back to me, right? Or once the sun sets, all my problems come back to me. And it ends on that note, right? Again, I find it interesting that she's asking some questions, right? Like the good stuff, like, yeah, can it erase my problems? Those are questions. But in the end, it's almost like not even a question anymore. It's like, no, she knows like this is gonna be the case. So it's gonna end on this elegiac note. Now, a few things with structure I wanted to look at. All right. Obviously, a lot of beautiful language describing the scene, reflecting on the scene. You can talk about tone, talk about diction quite well here. But in terms of the structure, we know this is an English sonnet. If we're looking at the volta, I like what she does here. She kind of tricks us with the voltas because she kind of gives us hope that, hey, maybe there is a earlier volta in a very odd place, right? There's a little bit of a turn here where it's like, yeah, here's this scene, but yeah, by the way, can it give me rest? But really, it's a fake out, kind of like how just these ideas are a fake out as well. Like, yeah, maybe this can make me feel better. Sure enough, the true volta is when she finds out, nope, everything sucks, right? So I love how Charlotte Smith plays with the structure here. She kind of tricks us into thinking there's going to be an earlier volta, but sure enough, that volta here really takes a turn for the negative, right? Or for the true elegiac. The other thing I would look at is sound, looking at rhyme, right? This is following the English sonnet pretty much perfectly until the last two lines. The last two lines should really be a perfect GG rhyme, right? But proven love is not a perfect rhyme. This is what we would call, and here's a good term to know, what we would call a slant rhyme. I've heard other people call it an I rhyme because it kind of looks the same. I was always taught to use slant rhyme though, so that's I think a good term to go with. I've heard of half rhyme as well, but this is a slant rhyme. So if we consider, why end it with a slant rhyme? Everything else has been kind of perfect. It's been the English sonnet format. Well, again, how does that kind of match up with the content? She isn't finding, right, that comfort. Things aren't quite right. So it makes sense that she's also, right, if she's emotionally, right, not ending on a good note, right, then that means that the rhyme doesn't end on a comforting note either. And that is the genius of, right, that slant rhyme. So whenever I see a slant rhyme, whenever you see a slant rhyme in a sonnet, especially in the end of an English sonnet, ask yourself, oh, why did the author do that, right? Is something supposed to not be right? Is there something here, right? So again, Charlotte Smith is playing with the structure of the format. She's very slightly manipulating it with a little bit of the volta fake out and also with her slant rhyme to, again, reinforce basically the whole message here of like, hey, here's a nice scene. Can it make me feel better? Oh no, it's only going to be temporary. So again, kind of sad, but it is Charlotte Smith's own poetry. As I said, I think it's really impressive.